Hey, it's Yuko, the former teacher turned instructional designer. So I wanted to talk about a really interesting topic. I think people who don't understand instructional design, they think, oh, you're just making slide decks. Anybody could do that. Or it's training for things that don't matter.
How could you even tell what's on? I can tell.
Things that people don't find interesting or useful and they just do it because they have to tick it off from a HR point of view. I think that's where the distinction between active and effective learning comes into play. So last video I talked about how I honestly don't believe everyone can become a course creator or an instructional designer or an educator for that matter. It wasn't just the fact that I have gone through years and years of teacher training and I have years and years of experience. It's not that at all. I think the fundamental landscape of how learning is conducted has changed a lot. You see nowadays there are lots of online schools and a lot of people can do degrees online, not just short courses, Coursers or Coursera or things like that, but you can do a whole university course online. I think a lot of countries and institutions still don't recognize online courses as legitimate as in-person learning, and that may be due to the rise of AI, but I think regardless of whether you're learning in person or you're learning online, if people are going to use AI, people are going to use AI. And I was speaking to my husband about this actually, and he said the way to combat this is to have in-person pen paper exams. And I agree on the whole that a lot of the old skills without technology do need to be revisited, because a lot of kids nowadays, they can't read cursive handwriting because everything is printed. Even with this new tech landscape that kids growing up in, even though they have been brought up with phones, they've been brought up with computers and smart devices, they are largely tech illiterate. They can't type, they can't search for information. Their research skills, their critical thinking skills, their communication skills, all of these things are non-existent or quite weak. Now that wasn't the point of this video, so I wanted to talk about whether AI would replace instructional design. TLDR, no. AI will not replace instructional design because, okay, yes, you can create a whole slide deck in Claude or ChatGPT so fast. And I think I've read articles where consultancy firms have been caught using AI to produce their slide decks. And I think a lot of consultants are bullshit. Excuse my language, but a lot of that stuff you could Google by yourself. You are not adding any value, and they are so expensive as well. Yes, AI might have created this slide deck very quickly, but it will be rife with errors, and it is known that AI produces hallucinations. There are so many things that need to be checked from a human point of view. If you're putting out learning or training of some kind, especially if you're marketing it and it's a paid learning or training, you don't want to have random AI hallucinations in your product. That just looks bad on you. So the second reason why I think AI will not replace instructional designers is because learning is not a one-size-fits-all experience. I think the whole concept of differentiated learning has been blown out of proportion completely. I think I read another article where there was this high school senior somewhere in America who got a perfect GPA and got a scholarship to a university, but then she failed university because the school had let her graduate with so many special considerations where she wasn't reading anything and everything was spoken to her or read to her. Yeah, she graduated illiterate. Learning is not one size fits all. Some people will need accommodations for things like text size, color contrast, voice to text. This is all fine. Captions and alt text under images, practical aspects that need to be assessed. And that's why I don't think AI could do it. The third reason that I don't think AI will replace instructional designers is because you need variety. I think anyone who has used generative AI before will see that a lot of what you create is very samey. So you want to create some sort of curriculum, you want to create a lesson plan, it will spit out the same things it has passed from the internet, and everything will end up being very, very samey. So you need a variety, and not every topic and not every lesson or unit or learning engagement can be the same. I think maybe to some extent that does come down to how well you're prompting AI, but I think there are a lot of creative aspects that need to be created by humans. Coming off of the third reason that I don't think AI will replace instructional designers, my fourth reason, along with that need for variety and the fact that AI does produce that samey kind of work, is that it's inauthentic. So maybe AI has passed through the internet and tried to come up with a variety of different activities, but it has stolen these from somewhere. So it is someone's intellectual property that you are stealing. And yes, the AI might link it to whatever website or YouTube video that it found, but a lot of the time these links are hallucinations and they're not real and they don't go anywhere. So then you're stealing work from somewhere, but you can't credit it. It's inauthentic and effectively it's intellectual property theft. And that leads me into my fifth reason why I think AI will not replace instructional designers. This is more related to artists and creatives, but a lot of people think, oh, AI can recreate this same type of art. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I have followed these trends and tried to create a Studio Ghibli version of myself or the action figure version of myself, but then I have felt incredibly guilty because this is somebody's work and somebody's art that they created that is being manipulated and used for something, and something that took a lot of training and practice to perfect was just stolen by AI. Artist credit and creativity is a major factor in why AI will not replace instructional designers, because there is that element of human creativity that is necessary for learning and education. My sixth reason, it is kind of related to the fact that Claude Design has just come out. This is super exciting, and I must admit that I have played around with Claude Design and watched a lot of YouTube videos on it, and I've seen what it can do, and it is incredible the fact that AI can create websites and create apps and whole games almost instantaneously. I do find that incredible. When you use AI, going back to my third point, there is a level of sameness. So if you ask Claude to create a flowchart for you or a mind map, or you ask it to create a slide deck, then it will create something along the lines of Claude's design values. So if you don't prompt correctly and don't include, for example, your brand colors or your brand aesthetic, then whatever the AI creates will not be aligned with your brand. But then, do you want to put in all of your brand information, your brand logo, your brand colors, your brand? Do you want to put this into AI? I think a lot of people are putting wildly personal things into AI, their photos, to do that whole facial analysis, facial rating. A lot of people are even putting their handprints and fingerprints into AI for astrological reasons. I think that's wildly silly. Let's be honest, AI can be used to hack you, and I was speaking with a friend of mine who works in cybersecurity, and it is kind of crazy what can be done to steal your information, to steal your identity. And people are willingly giving this information up. My seventh reason that I believe AI will not replace instructional designers is that, okay, I don't know if this matters to a lot of people, and I know that my whole job is working on the computer, using energy and electricity, and I do feel guilty about this, but I try not to use AI if I can do something myself, or if it's a creative activity and I need to do it myself, or if it requires the human eye to check over. There is a very real environmental consequence in using so much AI. Yes, Claude can create incredible things, and Claude Design can create beautiful websites and activities and apps and games so quickly, much faster than human could. But these take a crazy amount of tokens. I was watching a YouTube video, I can't remember what it was, but I'll find it somewhere. Apparently Uber Design ran through all of its Claude tokens like in 3 months or something crazy like that, and they're wildly expensive. But it's not just the tokens. Okay, so Claude Design uses a lot of tokens, but more than that, using AI takes a crazy amount of energy and a crazy amount of water as well. And people are clearing land, building data centers to support the growth of AI use. It's quite disconcerting. I think if you care about the environment, it is something to consider. My eighth and final reason why AI will not replace instructional designers is quality control and quality assurance. So there needs to be, like I said, a human eye looking over and making sure there are no hallucinations or that if you're taking credit for someone else's work that you're citing them correctly. But I mean, I think a lot of people are just focused on the deliverables and wanting to get things done as fast as possible, that they don't care how it gets done. And I think this culture of taking shortcuts is something that needs to be stopped. A stitch in time saves 9, but then what's the cost of that? Are you willing to compromise your integrity, your brand's integrity, your personal integrity, and that of your name just to make something really fast with AI? I wouldn't spend money on AI training. Anyone who wants to learn actively should also consider that. I think anyone who values authentic learning probably agrees with me. But I mean, like, what do you think? Do you think AI will replace instructional designers? I mean, yes, it can create basic slide decks quickly, and every authoring tool in learning management systems seems to have their own version of AI, but they're kind of meh. I think using it for things like removing the background on this PNG is great. Don't get me wrong, I think AI is an incredible resource, but it needs to be used responsibly and respectfully, actually. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents. What do you think? Will AI replace instructional designers? I would love to hear your thoughts and let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this unpopular opinion / rant, then please like and subscribe.